We have a related question as well from Leslie in Ronkonkoma, who writes, as a mother of college students, I'm glad to hear of the Student Aid and Fiscal Responsibility Act being passed. We have PLUS loans out and they have federal loans. Is there something that can be done to aid them in paying back the loans since the economy is so bad and job opportunities are scarce?
Yeah, it's a very good question and also a very important point. And what we did in a previous piece of legislation, the reauthorization of the Higher Education Act, we created what we call an income contingent repayment plan, which means that the loan payments that graduates make on a monthly basis will be at a fixed percentage or no more than a fixed percentage of their monthly income, so that they will. And one of the reasons we did this is that we didn't want people, as a result of loan debt, to look past perhaps jobs that don't pay as much as other jobs. We wanted people to continue to want to teach, to continue to want to work in community service, to continue to want to work in not-for-profits, and not be forced out of those fields because they have excessive loan debt. So we have this income contingent repayment program. It will allow students to repay at a pace that will be acceptable to them. And if at the end of 20 years their loan balance remains somewhat unpaid, that loan balance will be forgiven. So this is a way of recognizing the financial constraints, really, and the financial burdens that a great many of our college students graduate with as a result of borrowing while they're undergraduates or even graduate students.
Also on the topic of college affordability, and as students look for more affordable college options, could you tell us a little more about your efforts to fight diploma mill scams and how these hurt students?
Well, diploma mill scams really hurt students and they hurt employers. And Frank, what a diploma mill is an institution that will award what purports to be a legitimate degree, and the principal qualification that one must have to earn this degree is enough money to buy the degree. That there's no academic work required for the degree. It is simply a financial transaction. But people have used these degrees to get jobs that they don't deserve to have based on their academic background. Frankly, they have used these degrees to get visas to be in this country when they really should not be in this country. And so they defraud the educational system, they defraud employers, and in some cases they defraud, as I say, federal authorities such as ICE. So I have offered legislation that will crack down on diploma mills and will hopefully solve a problem that has become a much more difficult problem for employers and students to deal with. At the same time, I'm also, this is a somewhat more technical, but I'm also trying to deal with the issue of accreditation mills, where, I mean, right now we have a great many both regional and national accreditation bodies which are highly regarded and have very high standards that schools must measure up to in order to be accredited by whatever body it is. We now have a growth of accreditation mills which basically, in the same way as diploma mills, are selling a credential that allows a school to be perceived in a way that they don't deserve to be perceived. We need to fix that as well.
Long Island is home to a large number of veterans of all generations. And we have a question from Donald in Miller Place, who writes, I write to ask you to make veterans a priority by working with your colleagues to ensure that sufficient appropriations for the Department of Veterans Affairs programs, including medical care, are received by the VA on time and at the beginning of the new fiscal year. What are you and your colleagues doing to help provide for our veterans?
This is one of the areas that I am the most proud of in terms of the service and the efforts of the Congress over the last several years. And this is one of the few areas, sad to say, where the Congress is united on a bipartisan basis to do the right thing. Last year, from fiscal 08 to fiscal 09, we increased veterans health care benefits by 11%. It was then the largest increase in veterans health care benefits in any one year in the history of the Veterans Administration. We are doing that again from fiscal 09 to fiscal 10, the year that we are now 3 weeks into, 4 weeks into. So we are making a significant commitment to veterans to say that you, the veteran, were here for this country when your country needed you. Now it is our obligation to act on that compact and provide the veteran with whatever he or she needs in terms of health care. I think it's a solemn obligation that this nation has that we have not always lived up to in the past, and we still have a ways to go. But as a result of the efforts of this Congress, we are on a trajectory to do that. We're doing two other things for veterans that I think are very important. One of the issues that the veterans organizations have had is guaranteed funding for the VA. Every year the annual appropriations process provides funding for the VA, but often the annual appropriations process doesn't work the way it should. Appropriations are agreed too late and so on. And that creates problems for veterans. It creates problems for veterans healthcare organizations and so on. What we have now done, and it's about to go to the President for his signature, is pass legislation that would forward fund the VA by one fiscal year. So in other words, when we do fiscal 10 appropriations for the VA, we will also do fiscal 11, so that there will at least be 2 years where everyone knows what the numbers will be, everyone will know how to plan, and everyone will know that their needs will be adequately cared for. I think a very important step that the veterans organizations, VFW, AMVETS, American Legion, have all been pushing for, and I'm delighted that we're now getting that done. And then the second thing is the GI Bill for the 21st century. This September, the first veterans entered college under that bill, and frankly what it does is it removes the financial barriers for a veteran to go to college. It allows a veteran to receive a scholarship equal to the highest price public tuition charge in the state in which the veteran is going to school. And so they can go to any publicly supported college in that state for free, and they can go to any privately supported college in that state with a scholarship that is equal to the highest public college tuition. As I say, this is the first class of veterans that have entered. It's open to any veteran who served from September 11th, 2001 forward. It also provides them with a stipend for books and for living expenses. And so, as I say, there's now no financial reason for a vet to not go to college if he or she wants to go to college. There may be other reasons, perfectly legitimate reasons, but we've at least removed the financial barrier. And
an emerging issue in veterans health care for the newest generation is the use of toxic burn pits. Joan in Greenport wrote about your legislation to ban toxic burn pits in Iraq and Afghanistan. Can you tell us something about the problem there and what you've done about it?
Well, the problem is a very serious one in terms of health issues. I mean, unfortunately, the contractors that maintain these facilities in Iraq and Afghanistan have been burning all manner of waste in open-air burn pits. The fumes from these open-air burn pits are very toxic. There have been a huge number of illnesses reported by our members of our armed forces coming home after being stationed on bases that disposed of their waste in this way. This was an issue first brought to my attention by a veteran who serves on my Veterans Advisory Board, whose daughter was serving as a nurse in Iraq, an Army nurse in Iraq. And so we've been working on this for about 2 years now. We finally have gotten legislation passed through the Defense Authorization Act that bans the use of these burn pits and requires the Department of Defense to maintain a registry of any member of our armed forces who was exposed to one of these burn pits, and then provide them with tracking and ongoing monitoring, and then whatever care that they need. This is a very important step forward in terms of the health of our veterans. We all know how difficult and dangerous war is, and we all know that when when our troops leave the base, they're exposed to danger. We should not be exposing them to danger on their own base.
Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for talking with us today, Congressman. This has been a Capitol Talk exclusive interview with Congressman Tim Bishop. If you have any questions about what we have been discussing or need assistance with a federal problem or concern, please contact one of the Congressman's district offices on Long Island, shown right here on the screen. And thanks for joining us.